Literal helped sponsor the round of conferences here in the University of St. Thomas because we share the same values and the same interest to help spread the heritage and the culture of Mexico.
We are not only celebrating 200 years of independence, but we are also going through an analysis of what Mexico is and the challenges for the future and for the present. To me, that's what it means.
We really think that by doing these conferences and these films, it's going to create awareness of what is happening down there in Mexico City.
Over about 5 years' time, it has gone, Hispanic Americans have gone from 20% of the population of undergraduates to now 47%. And this is an amazing increase over a short span of time. And it signals, it signals the wider population demographics of Houston, where Houston considers itself a kind of an American city, that is, a city that will mirror what the United States will be like in a very short while. And it's incredibly important that people have a profound sense of their identity. And so it's our responsibility to make sure that this identity is preserved in an accurate and in a scholarly way. That's why the conference, because this was a scholarly conference that is not meant to just celebrate a tradition, as good as that is, but to be very clear and precise about how that tradition unfolded over time and had an influence on everyone's life involved. I mean, it's not just a spiritual influence that is preserved in private, but it actually spilled out over into the public realm.
The three participants, Dr. Ramos, Dr. Jimenez, and Dr. Hart, were essential for the success of the conference, in my opinion, each one in their area of expertise. The idea was to bring as many points of view as possible, right? So we could have a comprehensive understanding of the Catholic experience and the Catholic faith in a country like Mexico, which by itself is a diverse, very complex place. So the conference tried to some extent to imitate that. One thing that really was very pleasant surprise was how Dr. Jimenez was a very secular thinker to some extent. Her point of view of the history of Mexico was in any way related to what would we consider an official discourse of the Catholic Church. Rather, she was at some point critical of the role that the Catholic Church had played to Mexico. And that, I think, was very valuable for the conference because, again, we don't want to hear only one point of view or things that only a certain sector of the audience would like to hear.
There was syncretism from our indigenous roots. When the Spaniards came, they blended into what a unique culture of Mexico that took its roots from as I said, from our indigenous past, the Catholic faith, the interaction with Europe, mostly Spain. So this made Mexico, spiritually speaking, into a very rich and a very complex country.
This mix of experiences, of manifestations, of ways to name things, of ways to understand the world, ended up creating the kind of phenomenon that we have today in Mexico. Very complex. So spirituality, you can only imagine how the relationship with the supernatural, with the divine, with the inner self, acquires many different faces, many different manifestations. And this is perhaps what makes Mexico such a colorful and wonderful place, but also such a complicated and convoluted place, very difficult to govern, very difficult to control. in that sense, I think spirituality is no different from any other phenomenon.
The people of Monte Albán feel protected by taking natural phenomena and dangerous animals to the category of gods. So then, through offerings that they make every day, the people feel protected.
We are, of course, a free society, and we examine every aspect of our history. We are on that process right now. It used to be, and I say that also very frankly, that maybe, I don't know if the government or society wanted to suppress a certain thing that happened in Mexico, or will venture by saying to distort some of it.
I think the killing of 1968, now it is said that there were about 250 people killed. During 30 years, you were able to say absolutely nothing about Tlatelolco. You never spoke on Tlatelolco on television, on radio, and everything. If Mexicans now have newspapers against the government and have a new attitude, they respect themselves more than they did before, and they think they can act on what is happening in their country. It's because of 1968.
We are now, and I say that very, very emphatically, we are a very free and open society, so we are examining everything in our history, past and present, and this is only something that has to be very positive, and I see it this way.